What is empirical formula? Let's take an example of glucose. Glucose has a formula of C6H12 and O6. So from this formula, what kind of information we can get? First of all, it is representing how many type of atoms are present in it. First of all, it has carbon, it has hydrogen, and it has oxygen. Number two, it is describing or representing number of atoms present in this formula. So this formula tell us that it has 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, and 6 oxygen. So this is basically the molecular formula because it has the exact number of atom as it was present. So if we want to convert into empirical formula, what we need to do, we need to write the name of atoms or symbol of the atoms which are present in it. Then in the second step we have to write their numbers, how many carbon atom are present in it, how many hydrogen atom are present in it, and how many oxygen atom are present in it. Then we need to convert this ratio into a simplest form. So if we divide by 6, so we will get 6 1 the 6, so 1 ratio 6 1 the 6, 6 2 the 12, 6 2 ratio 6 1 the 6. So we have the simplest ratio, which is 1 ratio 2 ratio 1. So we can write it as C1 H2O1. So we can also write it as CH2O. So this formula is the empirical formula because it shows the simplest ratio of the atom. So now we can differentiate between the molecular formula and the empirical formula. Molecular formula show the exact number of atoms in an atom in a compound, and molecular formula represent the simplest ratio of atoms. Simplest ratio of atoms present in a compound. Let's take another example. Let's say the formula is C2H6. So now we have carbon and hydrogen. If we write in the ratio form, then we have 2 carbon and we have 6 hydrogen. And now if we convert into the simplest ratio, we will divide it by 2. So now we will get 1 ratio 3. So the empirical formula is CH3. So this is the molecular formula, and which is we can write it as MF, and this is the empirical formula EF in the short form. So there may be some compound which have the same molecular formula and the empirical formula. Let's take an example of water, H2O. Now we have hydrogen ratio oxygen, we have 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. This ratio is already in the simplest form, so we can say that this has the same empirical formula and same molecular formula. So let's take another example. Let's say we have sulfuric acid which has a formula of H2SO4. Now we have hydrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. So now we have 2 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, and 4 oxygen. Now we can see that we have 2 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, and 4 oxygen. And if we want to simplify this ratio, we can't because this is already in the simplest form. So we will say that the sulfuric acid has the same molecular formula and same empirical formula. So for some compounds, we have different molecular formula and different empirical formula, but for some compounds we have the same molecular formula and same empirical formula. So let's take another example. Let's say we have C3H8. So we have ratio 3 ratio 8, which cannot be simplified because if we divide it by 3, so we will get 1 ratio. The answer of this fraction will be in the points. So we are not going to convert any fraction into the points. So we will say that this has the same empirical formula and same molecular formula. In the next video lecture, we will learn how to derive the empirical formula of a compound with the help of few steps, which is mostly asked in the O-level chemistry and in the IGCSE chemistry as well.